Hello, lacrosse friends. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and welcome once again to Lacrosse Link. I am your host, Stephen Stamp. Glad you're here for your link to all things lacrosse. This week on the show, we have part two of the Chris Lesanko story. We've seen some of the tragedy, a little bit of the movement towards triumph. This week, it's all about the triumph, the changes in Chris's life that he has facilitated and people have helped him to facilitate. We have Steve Hay and Matt Beers joining us on the show along with Chris. It is very moving. It's a great story. Really fun to get these guys all together and see their interactions. So thanks to all of them for being here on the show. And our first in-person guest is Holden Cattoni, the leading scorer of the NLL with the Rochester Nighthawks. He is also the leading fantasy scorer, and you can go to lacrosselink.com, check out our fantasy standings. You can go back and hear the Laxbeat episode where Chris Lesanko and Randy Trobak and I chose our fantasy teams. Shanker and I are in a pitched battle for first place. I am just ever so slightly ahead. I think I'd be further ahead, but Jeff Teat missing a couple of games has really hurt my standings. But, I've got Callum Crawford, Dane Smith, Rob Hellier, Holden Cattoni, who is leading all scorers, as well as being a great guest, a great scorer. So he has really helped me out. Lesanko has Dane Doby and Mitch Jones really leading the way for him. And with Cody Jamieson out, he's actually really got a big boost from Ryan Lee, one of his alternates, who has slid in to fill the void. We're not going to talk too much about how Randy's doing because it's just mean to mention that he is like 100 points behind both Chris and I in the race after just 3 weeks. But go check out the fantasy standings. We'll update pretty regularly. And great guests this week. Enjoy Chris Lesanko's story part 2 and Holden Cattoni here on Lacrosse Link, your link to all things lacrosse.
Beautiful play, Aaron Greyeyes. He is having himself a tournament.
He made the save regardless of the crease call, and that shows he is at his acrobatic.
In the middle, it just bounces off, but it's picked up and scored.
For the biggest, that's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
Welcome to Lacrosse Link. We have Chris Lesanko, Steve Hay, and Matt Beers back for part 2 of the Chris Lesanko story. And last week we talked about Chris's devastating injury, a C4 cervical injury. So he was for a while paralyzed from the neck down, but went to California, had some great therapy, and came back to Canada hoping to continue that therapy that had helped him to regain use of his arms. And Chris, what happened when you got back to Saskatchewan?
Yeah, so I went down to California. It would be 3 times in 6 years before I said enough is enough, and wanted to bring it to Canada to open up more people's eyes to the treatment that I received. And it is now 2021, so we've been open for 11 years. We started in a back of a storage shed, essentially, maybe 1,100 square feet. And now we're in 7,800 square feet. We help multiple ranges of disabilities now with neurological disorders. And we've even opened up a little kids program. So youngsters coming up 3 months of age to 18, and we're helping them out. And for me, myself, I go every second day for 2.5 hours. And I haven't stopped, honestly, since we opened up the doors at First Steps Wellness Center, which is a nonprofit charitable organization.
And one factor, I know you were one of the founders of First Steps, but you still have to pay for your rehab. Like you said, it's a nonprofit. Everyone has to contribute to maintain the facility going. So we're going to jump to Steve and Matt because they are key components in your ability to continue. And Steve, Matt, I just want you to tell us about the tournament that you've organized and playing, been playing in. I think both of you have been playing for several years, and why you do it to help Chris out.
Do you want me to start off?
I just want to start by saying I am a participator. I'm a huge supporter of Steve. Steve and his family are the ones that run this. And it takes a lot of the lacrosse community, but I've played in it for years. I've been a friend of Steve's. We've lived together, we work together, but Steve and his family are the ones that have kept this going for a long time. So I'll let him start.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, so Beer Hunters Field Lacrosse Club, we started up in 2001. A group of us, probably mainly 19 years old. Field lacrosse wasn't that big in BC. We wanted to keep our sticks in our hands for WLA, NLL, university. And so anyways, throughout the years, we kind of wanted to change our reputation because all of us were trying to get careers as firefighters, teachers, police. Like we wanted to give back to whatever. And we thought about it, didn't take much. We're like, let's give back to Chris Lesanko, because there's about 5 or 6 of our players that actually went to Bishops with Chris randomly. And so it started off a small little 2 beer hunter team playing, and then it grew into tournament or fundraising camps for kids, and now it's been tournaments for the last, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, and we've raised over $50,000 for Chris's rehab the last 13 years, and we've turned it into an alumni event, so all the ex-Hunter lacrosse players go out, like Matt participates every year. And then it's just a good way to celebrate lacrosse, BC, and of course, celebrate Chris and his family. They've come out how many times, Chris? 3 times?
Would have been third last couple of years, but COVID kind of struck. So
now he knows all the guys. He's got to know a lot of the Saskatchewan players, because guys like Matt Beers, Robert Church, Ben McIntosh, all those guys, there's so many to name, but the skill level goes from beginner to Team Canada caliber. It's pretty fun. Guys idolize like Curtis Dixon and Challen Rogers and all these guys like Matt Beers and Mitskis, and they get to play against them. They get to play next to them. It's a fun day for everyone. And then of course at the finals it gets a little more competitive, and certain guys don't go out as much, but it's still a good time. And yeah, like one year, all these pretty much the Hall of Fame guys that their kids are old enough to play with them now, they beat the Team Canada, like Del Bianco and Ben McIntosh. And like, it was kind of cool to see the old school lacrosse guys take over. And
I don't think that'll happen again.
No.
I think that was their 3 years in a row they won it, and they got a little bit cocky, but
yeah, it's a fun day for everyone. I definitely couldn't do it without the beer hunters, the alumni, all my friends, my wife, my in-laws come out from Ontario for this event. It's something else. So.
And Matt, you've got the Hunters shirt. If you can just kind of lift up a little, we see the Hunters. And Steve, you've got the older school. And I loved when we were talking before prep for the show. You mentioned that it was always called Beer Hunters, and you kind of just dropped it to Hunters because you're growing up, you're becoming adults.
Yeah, well,
they're growing up in age, but
yeah, one day.
Yeah. So what has it been like seeing the difference for Chris? I know Steve in particular, obviously, I'm sure it must have been devastating for you. Like you said, he it happens, and then Chris is named the male athlete of the year while he is not able to walk. What's it been like for you to see the change in his ability thanks to the rehab in San Diego and what he's created and you've helped to keep going in Saskatchewan?
It's all Chris. It's all that. If you meet his family, you'll just be like, I love these guys. I'll do whatever I can for this family. And I've gone out there a few times just because I want to be around them. And I'm excited Matt's in Saskatchewan now because I'm hoping to go out for a road trip for that. And yeah, Chris does it all. Like you said, all the things he's done, the commissioner, the First Step Wellness, like he just wants to keep giving back, and you could easily give up, and the guy just keeps going harder, and he's a role model for everyone. He should be. And yeah, it's pretty cool. It's he does a lot for lacrosse and a lot for his community and other people, and it could have been any one of us. It happened to Chris. It's so unfortunate it happened to anyone, but if he's done everything right, like he said, there's no book on it, and I don't know, he should write one if there is one. So
that's what he needs, is another project.
Yeah.
And we mentioned in the first episode, we kind of ran through Chris's resume since the accident, the things he does is being commissioner of the Prairie Gold Lacrosse League, being on the board for the Canadian University Field Lacrosse Association, so many other things in Saskatchewan, in the lacrosse world. It's a long list. We've just given you the bullet points, but he is very involved, and you can see the kind of passion that Chris inspires. And I think we should put up a link to, there's got to be a way, Chris, that folks can help out, whether it's going through you or through Steve, to help support you and First Step. And I know we didn't talk about this, and you probably didn't really want me to do this, but I think it would be good to let people contribute if they want to. So we'll share that. Do you have a link you can share now, or should we just put it in the video after?
Yeah, probably just the video. I don't know. There might be a GoFundMe still up from prior fundraisers or through the gym as well.
Okay. I know I didn't mean to just spring that on you, but I'm sitting here listening to this, and we are going to put a link to the Difference Makers video, because I've watched, I think I said last time, I've watched it 3 or 4 times. I've cried every time I watch it. It's not just Chris, it's all the people helping Chris and all the people Chris and his partners are helping. There's the one video of a woman who was told she wouldn't walk again, she'd never feel her legs, and now and the video shows her walking, standing unassisted and doing some walking, and she says, I want to go to the Olympics and win a gold medal. And it's just like, oh. So I don't know, it's really moving. Chris, thank you so much. Steve and Matt, really appreciate you coming on. I think it's a great story, and I'm really glad we could share it. Thanks, guys, for being with us here.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you guys so much.
Chris Lesanko was once a promising lacrosse player until an innocent slip changed his life forever.
The diagnosis was not good at all, because at the time I could just move my left shoulder just like this. That was all the movement I ever had.
Recovery in Canada did not show progress. So Chris visited a California clinic to try something different.
This place seemed like it was the best of the best. The first time I wheeled in the doors, they're like, okay, over the parallel bars. I was like, what? Parallel bars? I can't stand. I haven't stood in a year.
Positive results yielded hope. But when Chris returned home to continue therapy, he was again confronted by limited thinking.
I was on a complete high. Felt like I could take on the world again. Started looking for trainers, started looking for facilities. They would just look at me with deer in the headlights. Like, why are you standing? Why are you doing core work when you can't even feel your core?
So Chris and a partner established the First Steps Wellness Center, where other Canadians could receive the same therapy he found in California.
Really push in.
Jessica Frotton is also recovering from a devastating accident.
Good? Yeah.
The messages she received from the medical system were familiar.
It was over for my legs. Everyone was telling me I won't feel my legs, so it was pretty scary.
Then, a moment her doctors never believed would come.
Wow. Being able to hold myself balanced and standing unassisted, it's amazing. It's just amazing. Yeah.
Jessica's success is unreal. People call it miracles. I call it hard work and dedication.
I think I'll walk again. My vision is to go to the Olympics and win a gold medal.
Believing in what some feel is impossible provides Chris with motivation to build a stronger future.
A lot of the skeptics might say, well, you know, it's false hope. What if you don't have any hope? First Steps is definitely thinking outside of the box. We're giving new hope.
All right, for the first time in Lacrosse Link history, we're having an in-studio guest. Holden Cattoni happened to be in town. I popped into town, and here we are in Trobak Studios. And Holden, the leading scorer in the National Lacrosse League. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's got to feel pretty good to have things clicking. I'm very curious. I'm actually very happy with it because I picked you in our Lacrosse Link fantasy draft, which we talk about later in the show. And you are the leading fantasy scorer as well. It's 3 points for a goal and 1 for an assist, so keep putting in the goals. It's really handy. Yeah. But I thought you were going to have a big year just looking at everyone coming back. The right side in Rochester is almost wholly different from the end of last season. You've got Curtis Knight back, but Sean Evans has returned from injury. Thomas Hogarth wasn't with the team before his injury, but what a huge impact. And Ryan Smith, the rookie, who finally started scoring some goals after being a bit snake bit. Mm-hmm. How different does it feel on the club with all those guys across the floor?
Yeah, definitely a big change on the offense. I think we're a lot more dynamic now. We have guys that, fill different roles and guys that can score different ways. So, you mentioned Thomas Hogarth before, and he's a great player to play with just because he creates so much space on the right side for, Shawnee and Niter, and, can score the gritty goals in tight. And Ryan Smith's, been a great addition as well. Just another shooting threat from the outside on the right side. So it's good to see him finally break free of the snake bite earlier in the season and get a couple of goals. Yeah,
it's interesting because I looked and he... when he started his MSL career, he had kind of the same thing where it looked like he was going to get a hat trick every day. Yeah. But he would only he scored either 1 or 2 goals, mostly 1 for his first 10 or 12 MSL games. And then he broke through, had a big game, and kind of exploded. And it looks, I've been expecting the same thing when he wasn't scoring goals.
Yeah, definitely. He's my roommate, so I get to talk to him a little bit more one-on-one and more personally. But yeah, he looks like a threat every time, and he was getting good opportunities, night in, night out for the first 2 games there. They just weren't going in, and then it's good to see him break free of that and get a hat trick, and it's a pretty special moment for him, I'm sure.
You have pretty different games, you and Ryan, but how can you, as a roommate and as a veteran player now, how can you help a little mentoring with him in terms of his development in the pro game?
Yeah, I think just the small things, he's obviously a super talented and skilled player, so there's no issue there for him to
you don't have to teach him how to play.
No, I don't have to teach him any of those things. It's just a little bit of the IQ stuff and things that you pick up on as you play more in the NLL. And the biggest thing is just the speed, and especially shooting the ball and things like that. You really have to get it out of your stick a little bit quicker, and I think that's something that I try to impress upon him the first couple of weeks. And I just told him to stay positive as well, because he's obviously a super talented player, and it's just a matter of time before he breaks out.
Speaking of a super talented player, you've got a guy on your side of the floor, Charlie Bertrand, who I'd never heard of, honestly, before the season. And I heard in one of your exhibition games, I think it was Craig Brzezinski was saying at the exhibition games, some of the guys said, hey, how many box games have you played? And he's like, well, this was the first one. And the kid does not look like that. I mean, there's some guys who it's not just that he's scoring goals, it's how he's scoring them. He looks like a gritty box guy. He looks like a Burrow guy. Honestly, he looks like he fits right in with so many of the Lakers on that team.
Yeah, definitely. He's been a great addition, and I think that's another level of the dynamic nature to our offense, which is really great. His athleticism is what sets him apart from everyone else, and he's able to beat guys one-on-one and really put defenses on their heels because he's just so dynamic that way.
How different has the defense been? I mean, obviously you play part of a season, have to sit out a season because of the pandemic, and then you're back in, so it's a second year of the franchise, and you've got these guys added, Matt Gilray, who you're very familiar with, Dan Coates, who you would have seen plenty of, some real big additions in the defensive end. How different has that been, and how does that affect you guys playing up front?
Yeah, it definitely affects our team up front. I think we're seeing reaping the benefits of those guys already early in the season. The transition that they have, and the scoring ability that they have, all the new guys in the back end, and then just the calming presence in the back end. Our first season, we had so many rookies back there and guys with so little experience in the NLL, and that makes a big difference. So now having some calming personalities back there and some people for the younger guys to really rely on in the back end is made a big change for us.
we're recording a little after Christmas, so I want to jump into a bit of the personal stuff. But first, I do want to touch on the thing that was grabbing everyone's attention, of course, the fight Rylan Harley and Ethan Woods. Ethan Woods kind of comes out, and it looked to me from the video like Ethan Woods was like, let's go, and Hartley was like, sure. How did that impact you guys? What did you all think? Because there's been such a mix in terms of reaction. A lot of people saying, this is great, TMZ covered it, which, I mean, when does that happen? It's, you know, it's all over the place, people talking about it. I think for a lot of us, it's like, why can't anybody talk about us when it's not a goalie fight?
Yeah, fair enough.
But it did get a lot of attention, and I almost feel like it distracted a bit from a great game by Rylan Hartley. But how did you guys react to the whole situation?
Yeah, I think it did take away from his performance between the pipes, obviously. Yeah. I think any publicity is good publicity, honestly. I think it's good for the league to be in the limelight a little bit. And it may not be for the reasons that we really would have hoped for, but, you know, being in, I guess, the main stage for a little while and getting some media attention is never a bad thing. But, yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed that it took away from what a great game he played. But that's just part of his personality, so it's great.
And, I mean, you know, Rylan had a great game, 32 saves on 36 shots. You had 9 points in the game, right? Ryan Smith and Charlie Bertrand both have their first career hat tricks. So there was a lot going on. And that, to me, like, I have no problem with the fight. And if, you know, if Woodsy and Rylan want to go, and I mean, it wasn't a great fight, but whatever. It's hard to fight with the gear on, the pads. But if, you know, it is a bit of a shame that all those things, I talked about it in my 3 stars. I talked about it in my musings, some of these things, but I didn't see a lot of coverage of your game other than that, which is, again, hopefully it will draw people and they will pay attention to all the other stuff.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the nature of the beast, and just, you know, social media takes on a presence of its own. So it's a quick way to get a lot of eyeballs, and I think that's really what brought a lot of attention to it, right?
Yeah. So we are recording in the studio partly because you're in town, here in Peterborough where we record, and you were going to be moving, but there is some weather. I came in from Marmora. It wasn't snowing, so everyone's saying, "Oh, the snow. We're not going to move because of snow." I'm like, "What? It's not snowing there, but there's some serious snow here." But what's the move? What do you?
Yeah. So I was living in Washington D.C. previously to the pandemic, and I came back due to COVID. So I just bought a house near the end of the summer here and moved in October, but we're just in the middle of, or I guess the final stages of some renovations. So just the last little push of getting furniture and everything in the house.
And where's the house?
So I live in East City, Peterborough now. Good little spot. So
nice.
Pretty excited to have buy my first home and really get to be a homeowner and be more independent now.
It's a great area. We have our salon in East City, right on 100th Street East, Revive Hair Lounge. So if you need a haircut, bring the family in.
Perfect, yeah.
But that's pretty cool to be getting the house going, and it's such a big moment. And what was it like for you? I know for us, the whole house buying, we sold our house and bought our house. We moved just in the last couple of weeks. We also got married, a month and a half ago, a couple months ago. So a lot going on, and it's all been so different with the pandemic. How'd the house hunt go?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. The housing market, especially in Peterborough and around the surrounding areas, is pretty nuts. Yeah. So I was the winning bid on my house of I think there were 16 bids, and I was just fortunate to be selected. Honestly, I think. But it's a stressful process. But honestly, it was a fairly quick one for me relative to I think a lot of other people. Mm-hmm. So it was good in that sense. But I'm happy with my decision now, and a little bit of housework to do. But that's just the way it is.
Yeah. And obviously, you're like you said, you came back from Washington, pandemic reasons. So maybe not a choice you would have made otherwise, but. You get to see Guido, your dad, and of course Tate, your brother's in town, and he's made his debut in the NLL, a 3-point game to start. So there are some benefits, obviously, to being around.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice to be, especially around the holidays right now, to be, around my family, and I consider Peterborough home now. I've been here for so long. So, that part of it's really nice. I love living in D.C. It just, unfortunately, didn't work out the way life unfolded. But I couldn't be any happier than I am now, so it's great. And I'm obviously really close with a lot of my Laker teammates, and fortunate to have a lot of those guys on the Nighthawks as well. So it's good travel team for sure.
Yeah, it's one of the things that you have so many Lakers on the team, so you do travel, and there's so many guys in the neighborhood, and it's one of the cool things about Peterborough. I try not to go on about Peterborough too much on the show because people get sick of it,
Yeah.
but we are proud Borough boys. And I was driving over to my sister's house the other day for Christmas dinner, and I'm going up the street, and I see somebody in a driveway packing some stuff in a car. It's Tracy Kluski.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it's like, hey TK, he's like, never, it's that's one of the cool things is just running into so many people, just walking up and down the street.
Yeah, definitely. I probably spend too much time at the bar as it is. I was actually down to 6 yesterday with a bunch of my teammates and Laker teammates, and we played a little shinny hockey in the afternoon. So it's nice to have that kind of sense of community and camaraderie with I guess the sports people around town.
Where'd you play?
We played at the Evinrude. I guess it's Healthy Planet Arena,
right?
So it's a little bit different, but it was good. A lot of those guys played high level junior hockey and stuff like that. So I was a little bit out of place, but
was
it
it
a good day?
Nighthawks guys, Nighthawks guys, a mix? Was Dogger there?
Dog was there.
He was a great hockey player. UP.
Yeah, so it's actually Rob Hope that puts it all together each year on Boxing Day. So it's a lot of his friends and a bunch of guys that he grew up with, played hockey and lacrosse with, and then obviously a lot of Laker guys. And my brother was out there. Corey Vittorelli was out there, and it's just fun to get out there and play a different sport and get a little bit more competitive than I think we would have liked, but. That's just always the way it works.
I remember doing stuff when I was at the National Training Center for rowing, and we'd do cross training. We'd be playing pickup basketball or whatever for some cross training, and it was crazy because guys would get so competitive. And there was a bunch of really competitive athletes at the National Rowing Center who weren't necessarily the best basketball players. It was wild, just crashing and banging. It was, oh my goodness! You guys can mostly play hockey, right?
Yeah, I think honestly, the majority of guys played hockey growing up, and most guys are fairly athletic. So I think they played fairly high level. But yeah, it was really good yesterday to get out there and play a little bit of shinny and muck it around with the fellas.
Who are the goalies?
I actually didn't know them personally.
Okay.
Two guys I haven't met before, but they were unbelievable, honestly.
Cool.
Good for them. They stayed in there for an hour and a half, just getting peppered. So
nice. Did you win the game?
No, we ended up losing. But
I thought you were going to see eating.
It's unfortunate. No, I think my brother scored 4 or 5 goals. I didn't get any, but that's all right.
We're on opposite teams.
Yeah, we're on opposite teams.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, you've scored 17 more points than him in the NLL this year.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll keep
I'll
keep that in mind.
Yeah, you got to. If he's playing all the time, though, you got to keep an eye on.
Yeah, definitely, I do.
And Robert Hope, you mentioned soon to be dad, Robert Hope. Great story by Anna Taylor on the NLL.com site about him and Jake Fox and Scott Campbell talking about Christmas traditions. But I noticed Robert's wife, Erin, was posting some pregnancy pics, very cute. A lot of that's going to be pretty cool. A lot of the guys, right?
I'm getting to that age where I have weddings all summer long basically, and then all my friends are having babies and stuff like that now. So it's a different lifestyle than I guess where I'm at in life, but happy for them. And it's cool to see some of their kids grow up, Shawnee's kids, and Turner has a son now too. So it's cool to see that part of their lives.
And it'll be handy. And being back in town, you get to see a lot more of the people of the kids. Not right now with Omicron, but it is coming. We're all hopeful that we're going to be clear soon. And, that's cool. It's great to catch up and see you here in the studio. And congratulations on. We just touched on that you're leading the league in scoring. How's it feel? We should circle back and say how's it feel?
Yeah, it's great. Honestly, it's I don't know. I have high expectations for myself every year, and I try to just get a little bit better each season. So I think I'm on the right track to do that. And I felt this season coming off of COVID last year, I feel like I'm in better shape and my body's a little bit more prepared to play. It's been tough the last few years because we play so deep into the Mann Cup in the summer, and we get so limited time off with the off season, and then we're right back in training camp. So I feel like it was nice for my body to recover a little bit and finally be able to train and get down to into game shape and feel a little bit stronger and quicker out there.
I've wondered about that for a lot of guys who, as much as nobody would say, let's have a pandemic, let's miss a full season, let's miss a couple of summers, or one full summer and then really a limited summer this year. The Lakers didn't even take part in the MSL Classic for whatever reasons. But I wondered if for a lot of guys it would be hey, some time off, heal, really get some of the off-floor training done that you just don't have time to do as much.
Yeah, I mean, we're in season pretty much all year, so you're very limited in what you're like able to do in the gym or fitness wise. So I think having a little bit of time off and guys being able to get healthy, number one, and then being able to like train the right way to prepare for a season is really making a big difference. And I think you're seeing that across the league. The quality of play for being off for so long has been really high, I think.
Really
and everyone seems to be in great shape, and I think the quality of play has been great.
National Lacrosse League scoring leader Holden Cattoni through 3 weeks of the season. Great to have you on the show. Thanks for coming into Trobak Studio for Lacrosse Link.
Thanks a lot, Stamper.